All right, welcome to Members Only, a show featuring CMAC members and the projects they produce. My name is Charlie Javing, and I'll be your host for today. In today's edition of Members Only, we'll be talking to Jaime Rangel and Dr. Iran Barrera, the producer and the host of the Dr. Iran Barrera Show, and Jackie Meador, the producer of Paranormal Journeys. First up is Jaime Rangel and Dr. Iran Barrera, the producer and the host of the Dr. Iran Barrera Show. Let's check out their clip.
Muchas gracias. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. So today's show, we're going to talk about motivation. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that I kind of talk a lot about health, mental health, quality of life, motivation. And today I had the opportunity to talk about motivation as I came across this video. I don't know if you ever go on Facebook or what have you, and you kind of end up somewhere where you didn't mean to end up, and that's kind of what happened to me when I came across this video and I seen this gentleman, and he was like jumping up in the air, like a burpee is what they call it, and he was clapping, and I'm like, how does he do that? And then I started to see that, there was more of these types of videos. But what caught my eye was...
All right, so welcome back, everybody. And here we are with Dr. Iran and Jaime Rangel. Great. So before we begin, would you guys like to tell us a little bit about yourselves?
I'll let Iran go. No, you go. No, just kidding. My name is Dr. Iran Barrera, and I am a professor at Fresno State and teach in the areas of like mental health, human behavior. And I also do some work outside of Fresno State in terms of like population health.
Great.
My name is Jaime. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and now getting into videography now. So.
Awesome. Great, great. Good to hear from you guys. So now that we know a little bit about you, can you guys tell us about what is the Dr. Iran Show?
All right. Dr. Iran Barrera Show, it's primarily based on mental health. And with Iran's background in mental health, we kind of give different demonstrations on how to explain certain topics.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty much... we're delivering the knowledge, disseminated in a different way. And what we're trying to do is, use today's technology and the knowledge and disseminate it in a way where it's engaging, creative, and makes the consumer, well, not necessarily the consumer, but makes the general public go out and click on play for our show. So the content is mental health, but in mental health, there's a lot of things that go under there. It could be, motivation, stress, all these emotional aspects that we human beings are susceptible to. So what we try to do is really, again, grab the content and produce it in a way where it's really engaging.
Especially with today's, Facebook and everything, a lot of trending topics are happening. So we kind of primarily, our show goes around those topics that are trending right now to kind of help people explain certain things that are happening right now.
Right, absolutely, nice. So, at least for me, the topic of mental health is a very sensitive topic, and it's often really, really hard to talk about. I mean, whether it's in the family and things like that, because you're dealing with it every day in that family setting, but in a community sense, in a public sense, talking about mental health is a really, really hard and touchy thing. What inspired you guys to have mental health as a content, and what also inspired you to go about tackling the awareness and all those things in the creative way that you guys have thought of?
One of the creative ways that we do is we look at past ways of actually explaining it, right? And one way was kind of talk shows. And back then they wouldn't really explain it really well. Some of the talk shows now, they still don't explain it right. So with Dr. Iran, we try to explain it as possible, as how can I say, easily as possible. It's kind of hard at sometimes to be creative, but at the other times it's real easy.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we try to do really is use everyday language to explain something that seems complex. So I know before today we're talking earlier today, Jaime and I, and we're talking about we think that the reason that it's been somewhat easier to look at this content is because the language we're using. We're not using mainstream terms. We're using street terms. We're using youth terms. We're using language that's out there in the community that is totally different than, say the medical model. So I think for us, we really, Jaime has a lot of, being a graphic designer, being someone who's very astute in terms of social media. What we did was we kind of put both of our worlds together and provide something that we think is really cutting edge if you really look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, he does a lot of research in terms of current trends and how it's being portrayed. And we kind of say, well, we agree with the content, but not in that deliverable, not the way it's being delivered. So we turn around and do it in a creative way. And I think to that extent, thus far we've been successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's great. So I see one of the strategies that you guys are pretty much doing is you guys are eliminating all the overly sophisticated language. You guys are making not so much the medical jargon an obstacle to understand, and you guys are making it very simple for the target market or the target audience that you're specifically catering to for this. And that's great, with that, I mean, that's pretty breaking edge, I gotta say. That's great, especially with the social media thing. There's, especially with social media, we have like teenagers all the way to people that are, pretty much everybody's on social media now, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or anything like that. And that's great. As far as the Dr. Aran show, what exactly is your target audience if that be the case? Is it a Fresno regional area type of deal? Is it within specific age groups? Could you guys tell me a little bit more about that?
I think the target market we started off with was college, but now that it's spreading, am I correct?
Yeah, I've been asked this question, and I think the best answer for that is anybody who will listen.
Wow.
It really is anybody who will listen. So we've actually taken this show and linked it up ourselves to our own social media. And what we're looking at in terms of the statistics, it shows different age groups, different ethnicities, different genders. So it speaks to a whole volume. And I think that's great because what we know is that, issues around mental health, mental illness, things of that nature, it doesn't discriminate. Right? So if you're 5 years old, that means that you cannot get, issues. You cannot stress out. Or if you're 80 years old, does that mean that no. We're all susceptible to this. So going back to your question, I think that our target audience is really anybody who will listen.
Wow. I think, as simple as that sounds, that's really exactly what it is. And those that will listen, And now my next question is, for those that aren't even aware, how are you guys going to be able to give them that awareness, and how can CMAC help you guys get there?
Well, I can say CMAC is helping already by letting us use the facility. People like yourself, helping us out when we really need it. And, that's one way CMAC is helping, the classes were actually, this idea was already in our heads already. We talked about it, but the classes here at CMAC kind of structured the show a lot more better, especially the staff here. That was the way that our show is actually being developed right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that CMAC is definitely the catalyst to put the knowledge more in homes, right? So if you think about it, if you think about why stories or stories turn into are stories that are written get turned into movies. I think there's a reason behind that because movies are engaging, they're creative, and they kind of last in your mind, right? Whereas the book, it's time consuming and what have you, right? So I think it's the same thing here. You know, who's going to want to pick up a textbook to learn about depression when I can watch 30 minutes of the show and learn, and it's creative, engaging,
Right.
and, you know. So in terms of going back to your question, I think that CMAC offers us that opportunity to disseminate this knowledge and have it more in homes, more on iPads, you know, or tablets, your phone, your computers, and any, you know, media that you're able to access, whether it be CMAC TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the way it's been really helpful. We've seen our numbers grow once our first show, you know, because we started off with a podcast, and then
right.
you know, so we did the video cast, and we've seen that we got more clicks, so to speak.
Wow, that's great. You know, the vision that you have as far as how you want to help the community and how you're going about it is a very, very hard one. You know, and especially here at CMAC as staff here and as a community here, we want to make sure that you feel like you're not alone at it. You know, and yeah, it's amazing to see from when you guys were taking the classes to where you guys are today. It's wow, the growth has been absolutely phenomenal. You know, and you know, one of the things that I remember was you know, when you do your own show, when you're in front of the camera for the first time, maybe not the first time, but you know, for your show, like, can you tell us how you overcame that nervousness? Because I remember I was there.
I could say I was nervous as far as like the class, just not knowing how to use the cameras, not how to use the programs, and that overcame as in time, you know, coming to CMAC and just learning, you know, and it's different now, huh?
Yeah, I think, you know, what I was most nervous about was the content. You know, making sure that the people had the content. The cameras and stuff, I think you desensitize to it as, you know, as you're around them. My first time, I was like, what is this? You know, it's a camera, okay. You know, like, should I be scared of it? But, you know, I think that the more you surround yourself with this, I think you'll be better off.
Great. All right, guys. Well, it looks like that's all the time that we have for now. I want to thank you very much for you guys coming by. And yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break now. And when we come back, we're going to be joined with Jackie Meador, the producer of Paranormal Journeys. And we'll be right back. All right, so welcome back to Members Only. Joining us is Jackie Meador, the producer of Paranormal Journeys. Let's take a look.
This is where we get to talk and debate about all things paranormal, strange, and just plain weird. And from time to time, we'll have special guests joining us, those who investigate ghosts and haunted places, hunt Bigfoot, chase UFOs, discover metaphysical mysteries, or uncover the truth surrounding urban legends and myths. I'm Jackie Meador, Director of Central California Paranormal Investigators, and with me tonight is a very special guest, co-host. He's Irish, born in Lisburn, County Antrim, Northern Ireland, is an author, actor, legend seeker, the lead investigator for Ghost Hunters International. He answers to Fitzy, I don't know why, or Boz, and still an all-around nice guy, and one you want on your side, whether it's in a dark tunnel, spooky castle, an underground cavern, or on top of a lonely mountain with smog nipping at your heels. Our friend Barry Fitzgerald.
All right, guys, so welcome back to Members Only. So here we are, Jackie Meador and myself, of course, and here we go. So, Jackie Meador, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Great, great.
And
All
you
right.
are?
And I'm Charlie. I'm doing great too. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
So, so you've been on Members Only before.
Yes.
Yes, and it's great to have you back. But for those that don't, that aren't familiar with you, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I produce Paranormal Journeys through CMAC here. We've been doing this now for almost 3 years. So show airs once a month. I'm retired. I devote pretty much my full time to this. It takes up that much time, but I have a good time. So it's great. We do location shoots. We do in-studio shoots. So we have guests. I have a co-host. And we talk about everything paranormal, and that includes UFOs, ghosts, Sasquatch, metaphysical, urban legends, myths. So we cover it all.
Cover it all. All right, great, crazy. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, all that crazy stuff. All right, awesome. So, so how long have you had your show here at CMAC?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. That's right. And so over the course of 3 years, you know, there's definitely going to be a lot of changes that I would assume would have happened.
Yes.
Can you tell me how, when you first initiated, or 3 years ago, how you first started and how it's grown and evolved into what it is today?
Well, when you start, you have an idea, you have the proposal, you have an outline, and then as over the last 3 years, it's progressed. You know, I had a co-host. I now have another co-host that's just starting. Because the first one moved back east, so you know, we try to update our intros, our look, the studio look. We try to update that once a year, so it doesn't get old, doesn't get stale. Right. So I mean, and it's always a work in progress. You know, we do use the virtual set backgrounds, which allows us a lot more opportunities to kind of dress up the back. So in that we're really fortunate. So. We have a big Halloween show, you know, coming up. You know, we're doing a music video, which we've never done before. So yeah, we're going out to Hobbs Grove, so to do that. So that's coming up in about 4 weeks. We're shooting that. So
yeah, that's great. You know, I mean, you know, here at CMAC, I see you come into the studio and you guys are, you know, you guys are doing choreography. You guys are having loud music and practicing. It's awesome. You know, it's really, really exciting. I think this is like one of those few times that I've seen like choreography being taught here at the studio, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before either, and we were kind of in a quandary at first because we didn't really have a place. I couldn't find a studio that would let us practice, and so CMAC was kind enough to let us use in here as long as it wasn't being used by anybody else. And but yeah, we have I think 15 dancers, and you know, and we've got the music, and Anita Fernandez has been doing the choreographer. She used to be an instructor anyway, so she's doing that. So yeah, we're moving right along. But we've, like you said, nobody's ever done it before that I know of.
Yeah.
And this is our first. So I mean, it was. I don't know that I want to do anymore because it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work, and we're still doing a regular show. That's script, that's production, that's all that stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you know, especially with you guys going to be doing the music video at Hobbs Grove, That is so awesome.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of the show before in the past, from what I've seen, being in the studio and you guys going to like, you know, doing some field shoots, that is super duper
Yeah.
awesome, you know.
I try to do 2 a year. This year or last year, we went to Allen George State Historic Park. We actually did a shoot there, and then we went. This year, I think we're going to a big one up at the Hobbs Grove, and then the Sierra Sky Ranch up in Oakhurst, and then next year, I think we're going to be doing the Queen Mary. So, yeah, down in Long Beach. So it'll be interesting.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that's very distinguished with you being a CMAC member here and the producer of Paranormal Journeys is the consistency of having 3 years worth of content. And you know, I mean, that takes a lot of consistency, and it takes a lot of drive, and it takes a lot of everything. Can you tell me a little bit more about or how you were able to do this for 3 years and ongoing?
I have a very nice husband who works out of town a lot. So,
yeah.
but no, I mean, this is my second career. You know, I'm a paranormal investigator anyway. I have my own team. I've done that for 15, 16 years.
Oh, wow.
Teach classes. So this was kind of like a next step. We'd done the documentary thing. We'd done a few other things that were kind of just a step up. So, and this kind of was like the last thing to do was, let's do our own TV show. And CMAC gave us that opportunity to do that. Had CMAC not been there, we would not have been able to do as much as we've done so far.
Wow.
And we've had fun.
That's awesome. See,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that you had been doing these investigations for 15 years
Oh, yeah.
plus already.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, if you don't mind me asking, what really inspired you to go in such a field that most people stray away from?
Yeah, I think I'm crazy or I'm going to hell, one of the two. So, you know, I think for me it was a lifelong, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with ghosts. Of course, when I became older, I married, children, career, the whole thing. But then when I started thinking about retirement, I think, what am I going to do after when I retire? So I kind of started this thing, and something I was always interested in. And this was way before it was popular. So, and I started thinking about this, going online, trying to find schools, trying to find classes, whatever. So I was just doing my thing, hung around with other people, like-minded people. And 2 years later, after I started, then Ghost Hunters came on TV, and the thing just blew up, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. But I've always loved it, since I was little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Since I was
Wow. So from what I'm getting, you've always had this passion in this, in the paranormal field, I guess you could say. And wow. So how did you first discover CMAC, and how do you think other people can also discover CMAC?
Well, a fellow member, one of my students actually from one of my classes, he introduced me and brought me down, gave me a tour of CMAC because he was a member, had just become a member. So he was the one that introduced me. That was Gary Kennedy. He introduced me.
Oh, Gary Kennedy.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's all his fault. So, but so he's
Great guy.
Yeah, he is. And so he introduced me. So we started talking, and I was a little dissatisfied with one of my documentaries that came out with. We won't go into that, but a little dissatisfied. So I thought, well, I want to make my own. You know, I want to be at the helm. I want to say, call the shots. And I couldn't do that before. Well, now I can. So I'm a producer. But from that idea came the talk show. There is no talk show. There was no talk show like ours ever. Not even on YouTube. There was no talk show. It was all either people were doing investigations. They were, using flashlights in the dark. They were going around old houses or whatever. But there was no talk show.
Right.
Our content is a little serious. It's a little fun, a little funny. It's a little stupid. Some of it's really stupid. We have our fan favorite, As the Paranormal World Turns, where we talk about really stupid people doing stupid things, I should say.
Okay.
People doing stupid things, and like setting fire to houses because they're chasing ghosts, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
So we do that, and then there's some stuff that we do is it's just normal people just talking to people.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
All right. So from what I'm getting at, you were able to have your idea, and you were able to utilize CMAC to further that. Now, if you had anything that you wanted to kind of share with, maybe give some advice to a fellow CMAC member or a new person to join CMAC, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, when I first appeared on the show, I was asked pretty much the same question, and my answer then, and it's probably going to be the same now, is when you do your proposal, do your outline, what you want to do. Be certain of what you want to do. I mean, you can always flesh it out later, but get an outline down of what kind of show you want, whether it's a talk show, a music show, a comedy show, drama, whatever it is. You know, get your outline down. Get your idea from here out to paper. You know, I think that's the most important thing. I said from there, like I said, you can flesh it out. You know, whatever way you want to go. You may change your mind, do something a little different, but I think getting it on paper is probably the best thing I could suggest to anybody.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially being in the field that we are in, you know, it's often said like oftenly too much, but you know, the better you do your pre-production,
Correct.
the easier their production is going to be.
Right.
And the easier your post-production is going to be.
Right.
And you know, without the good pre-production and the you know, the outlines and all the organization, production is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the editing and post-production is going to be even more of a nightmare.
Oh,
Yeah. If you don't have like, you know, your storyboard, shot list, and all those things, you know.
Oh yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Just get it out there. Get it out there. You know, put it down.
All right, great. So, is there anything that you would like to share, just from yourself, to the audience, or a new CMAC member?
Well, if you've ever seen a ghost or Bigfoot or UFO, give me a call. Who are you going to call? You're going to call Paranormal Journeys. That's who you're going to call. Call me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And before we do go. that was good. That was good.
Oh, thank you.
I was gonna say Ghostbusters, but
No, I'm not a Ghostbuster. No.
But yeah, before we go, would you like to leave your contact information for the audience to kind of call you?
Well, they can get a hold of me through CMAC, of course.
Oh, right.
But anybody that probably can contact me through our website, and that's www.ccpifresno.org.
All right, great. So, Jackie, I want to thank you very much for being on the show.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And that pretty much wraps it up for today's Members Only, guys. So, if you'd like to see more about our shows that we talked about, you can look them up on CMAC's channels, Xfinity 93 as well as Uverse 99. If you don't have either Comcast, Xfinity, or AT&T, you can always go to www.cmac.tv, which is our website, to watch the live stream under the Watch tab. Thanks again to our guests Jaime Rangel, Dr. Barrera, and Jackie Meador. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.